Webster and Horsfall have many claims to fame, and indeed the book reflects all of them. For example, it was this firm which made the wire for the very first successful transatlantic cable back in 1860. 20 years earlier, this company opened a factory at Hay Mills, then barely a village on the outskirts of Birmingham, and it's still there today. It's very much a family concern, and the book is mainly about the colourful and checkered history of the people in that family. Its author is Colonel John Horsfall, for the last 20 years chairman of the company. Colonel, in your book you've been blatantly honest about the ancestors. Now, hasn't this got you in trouble with the family as it stands at the moment?
Well, it's got me into a certain amount of trouble, I must admit. But fortunately, they have faced up to their history and been prepared to accept it.
It seems that only one member of your family has virtually come out of the book unscathed.
That is perfectly true. There was trouble with 3 of my great-grandfathers.
We won't ask you too much about that. Now, the book, in fact, did come about by accident, didn't it?
Yes. We had a banquet for the members at Penn's in June of 1970, and we all got very lit up during the dinner. And at the end of it, my charming female relations all hung on my arm and said, "John, we must have a history." Well, they've now got a history.
So it's taken you quite some time in research to, in fact, write and compile the book?
Yes. It took about a year and a half.
Now, you have, in fact, unearthed quite a few family truths in this book, haven't you? There was one story, I believe, about your great-step-grandfather. Now, that sounds an odd way of putting it, but perhaps you can explain it.
Yes. Well, in the course of writing the book, we discovered that my step-great-grandfather was, in fact, my real great-grandfather.
And that he had, in fact, married his wife some 14 years earlier, before the family really knew about it.
Well, that's not exactly correct. It would be better to say that he married my great-grandmother 14 years after my grandfather was born.
Well, of course, the company is still very much a family affair. Now, do you think this is reflected in the people who work for your company? Do you find that they come from the same families and generations before them?
Oh, definitely. Their connections are far longer than my own. Many of our people go back to the earliest days of Penn's 250 years ago.
Now, what uses are your products put to today in this day and age?
Oh, mostly engineering. And about 1/5 of our output goes into the wire rope trade. We have a subsidiary company, Latch & Batchelor, whose output mostly goes into mining and a certain amount into marine and a little into engineering uses.
Are you still making the telephone cables?
No. We went out of telegraph cables in about 1870.
So it's still a very fruitful history, perhaps for another 250 years of Webster and Horsfall, do you think?
Well, there's every chance of it, providing our heirs and descendants don't play up.
Colonel, thank you very much indeed.